guys, so we are all here today because we want to talk to you a little bit about a book that we're actually reading again. And so we thought this was a great book to share with you about pretty much what's going on in the world right now and staying at home. And so this will be part of our ministry minutes on Friday, and just bringing to you just a little conversation about what it meant for us, and hopefully it can inspire you to want to read it. So the book's actually called 12 Little Ways to Transform My Heart, and it's by Susan Muto. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And so it's a really, really great book. We actually all have a favorite chapter, but mine's the introduction, and I'm just going to share this with you guys because it's really makes me think, especially right now. Just kind of things you get to do at home when you really can't go out. But Sampa, you had something earlier that you mentioned about how St. Therese is not just part of the saints, but she's also part of our diocese, right?
Oh, true. So for those of you guys who are not familiar, Santa Teresita is actually named after St. Thérèse of Lisieux. So if you guys have been to our site, you'll notice that there's a small statue next to the stairs. That's actually St. Therese, and she's also the patroness saint of our diocese. So the Diocese of Fresno, she's the patron saint.
Yeah, so she's one of my favorite saints. Definitely, because sometimes I feel like I can't change the world. I'm definitely not going to be able to go out and change the environment or anything like that. But I want to know, I'd love to know that I can do little things every day in my house, or going from home to work, especially because all of us here commute at least an hour. So there's lots of time when we're driving. So things like saying a prayer to someone, or even waving to someone who just cut you off or something, knowing that you can do little things to show this great love, that really is inspiring to me. But right here in the introduction, it says, everyday life is the best arena in which to respond to the call to holiness. And that to me is eye-opening, because sometimes we think that we have to wait till we go to church or until we're at a retreat, but it's actually something that you have that platform every day. When you wake up, being nice to your spouse or to your siblings or to your parents, or even waking a little extra early and turning on the coffee pot so that it'll be ready for somebody who has to go to work, right? So it's so important to know that God is in our everyday lives, and we don't have to wait to go somewhere and find him, rather to, start to be holy where you're at. So
yeah. And I think all the things that you just said too, there's a part, I think it's in the second chapter, if not it's in the third chapter, where St. Therese talks about all these little nothings, and that's exactly what you just said, Crystal. It's doing all these things for other people, to kind of just throw it out there and be like, hey, you know what, I'm just gonna offer this up, and I'm gonna try and make somebody's day better. These are the smallest little sacrifices, like Crystal said, just waking up early to turn on the coffee pot for somebody, whether it's for yourself and your sister, or for your spouse or whoever. You're turning it on, and that just shows that you're thinking of somebody else other than yourself. So it's all these little nothings that add up to one really big something, I guess. I know that sounds kind of silly, but it's one small way that you're changing somebody else's life for the better. And I think it's really not that hard to do something like that. Even holding the door open for somebody, something that people don't really think about doing a whole lot, and for other people it's second nature, but it's just a little bit of kindness that you share with somebody else.
And I really that reminds me of just her life in general. Being for her testimony, at such a young age, she inspired so many people through her life and all that. And so it kind of helps remind, especially young people, that you don't have to be well-rounded and knowing everything about the Bible and everything to perform these acts or to serve God in these simple, humble ways, and that's what she showed an example of through her life, that even at a young age she was able to live out her life faithfully to God, and I really love that about her.
I really love that she as much as she was yearning in her heart to go out and do stuff, when she knew she couldn't go, she didn't become angry about it,
Right.
or she didn't become like, well, if I can't do that, I don't want to do anything. Like, she actually said, okay, well, you call me to be here within these walls, and this is how I'm going to serve you, especially because right now we're all asked to stay at home if we don't have to go out, do a safe distance. And those are small things we can do to help others, and especially those who have to leave their home every day.
Well, the book highlights, I think somewhere in the beginning too, of just the frail health that she had. Like, she wasn't.
Yes, I was gonna say she was very sickly herself.
She was very sickly, and so that prohibited her from going out into the world and doing the evangelization the way she envisioned herself to do it. And so instead of doing that, she didn't allow her struggles with health to bring her down in serving God, or rather she said, no, if I can go out to the world, I'm gonna be faithful where I'm at. And that's what I really love about her. In chapter 1, it talks about how she was faithful in the ways that she lived her life. She lived her life faithfully in hidden ways. So she wasn't all about like, I need to, of course there wasn't phones back there or anything, but her mentality was pretty much like she didn't have to record it or put it out somewhere or have people watching her. She loved wrestling with the fact that God knew and saw what she was doing and how faithful she was then. It even talked about how, like, when the rest of the sisters went out or were out and about in their day, she would make sure to do their beds and do errands around the house or around the place they were at. And she would find that extremely valuable for her faith, and she's serving God. So things like that, and again, there's things that right now when we're all stuck at home, it really feels like there's not much we can do, especially when it comes to our faith and all that. But she's a prime example that you could be faithful where you're at.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, for me, this book is just it's a really good time to read this again. It's a good way for you to think about what is working in your life, what is not. I think right now all of us are, missing going out, or missing going to a restaurant, or missing taking a road trip. And so we are starting to recognize all of those things that we took for granted often. And there's things, especially right now, that we can't be celebrating Mass together. I miss that so much. I mean, it was something that it was part of it's kind of like almost part of breathing. And now that we can't gather, it really does bring like this sorrow to my heart. And I don't think I realized how much I just kind of automatically went to Mass. I love it and I appreciate it and I love the celebration, but it was part of your routine. It was part of your routine, and I feel that emptiness because we can't really do that. And so while I worship and I see the celebrations happening live or through TV or anything, it's just I didn't value it the way I know I should have, now that I can't be there. So that really has had me to think about like things that are changing in my life and things that you can't have. So,
and I think one great reason why reading or diving into a book like this one right now when the majority of us are stuck at home or there's not much to do, is because the title is 12 Ways to Transform Your Heart, and transforming your heart, I feel, isn't always requiring to go out and doing stuff. It's more internally, like focusing on the inside and almost like becoming still and becoming quiet in your thoughts and just kind of figuring out, really sorting thoughts and what you're struggling with or things like that. And this book has a lot of good points on how to do that and different aspects of your life that you can focus on and dive into, things that don't normally come to mind in a noisy world, but rather especially because the average person, we're out and about as soon as we wake up. We got to go to school, work,
constantly
or whatnot.
Doing something.
And so right now that we're all stuck, or the majority of us are, we have that time, that opportunity to take advantage of that and try to become still a little bit, think about things that we normally don't think about, reflect on things that we normally don't reflect on. And sometimes God speaks through that quietness, through that stillness.
So for you guys watching at home, I don't know if you're familiar with this particular area right here. We are actually at St. Anthony's Retreat Center. Normally you catch us at Santa Teresita, but we decided to do a little change. We're actually right next to the grotto, and it has a great overlook here, which we'll try to get a peek on a little bit later on. and I don't know if you can hear it, but the river, you can hear the water going. And so first we were laughing a little bit earlier. We were talking about, can somebody turn it off so that they can hear us? But right before that, we were actually just all sitting here and we were just listening. And sometimes we're so loud and so busy that we miss God talking to us because we don't just stop and listen. And so we all sat here for a second, and it's different from being at home, right? So we just, I sat here and I was just like, oh wow, that's really nice. It was just quiet, and I could hear the birds and I hear the river, and that's really all I hear right now because the river is actually really loud. But we've been able to see more deer, and there's lots of turkeys. I think I saw a bobcat a few weeks ago.
That's right.
And so you miss all of that because you're constantly going from one thing to the other. So for me, this has been a good reminder to slow down, because I don't know about you guys, but I often pray and I ask God for A, B, C, D, and E. And then I'm like, well, why isn't God answering? But it's me, because I don't stay still enough to hear him respond. So that's why I really like this, because this at least in the things that Saint Therese experienced, it reminded me to just be still and to do for God what you can in the moment. It's I think so often we plan ahead of things we're going to do for God later, or the way we're going to serve others,
for sure,
that we miss the moment now and what we could do for others, like right now, today. So
I was going to say, it's like a different appreciation, because I know Janessa and I were talking and saying, like, we really do just miss, like, going and seeing our friends. Like, you know, I feel like most of us here consider ourselves a little bit kind of introverted, and so it's not like we all went and did a bunch of things every single day, but we really did like going one or two places. And so I think it's just a new appreciation too, because I know for me personally, being stuck at home, like, I have finally reached a point where I'm bored. Like, I want to go out. I miss that human interaction. And like Crystal was saying, just being at church, or like even just adoration, being able to do the live adoration that we did last time, like, that was such a familiar feeling that I think I was missing. And I like that Saint Therese acknowledges that herself, you know, being in the places that she was, being medically fragile and unable to go out and into the world and serve in that way. She experienced her own kind of like spiritual dryness, I guess. And so, like, she talked about that and talked about the things that she did to kind of like combat that and like turn it around and like try and seek God out further. And I think that that's something that we all go through as humans. You know, there's going to be times where our faith is dry and we don't want to go out and do things, and we have to challenge ourselves and just kind of look at things differently, like you were saying, Alfredo. And I think obviously reading is one of them. I know for some of us here, we're musically inclined. We really enjoy music, and music is a part of our prayer life and doing things that way. So I guess, other than checking out this book, maybe challenge yourself to pray in a different way. Like, do a couple of like worship songs, or, you know, just have a conversation with God. I think so many times we're pressured to say these really big, like, beautiful, eloquent prayers, and we feel really inadequate. Like, I don't know how to do that, or, you know, God's not going to understand what I'm trying to say, but he will. And I think a lot of the times we forget, like, it's just a conversation. So,
well,
anyways.
I'm gonna finish reading it, and I'll let you know what I come up across new. I feel like I've read it often, that I feel like I know all the words, but you always learn something new. Actually, one of the things I was thinking, that this book actually gave me an idea. I don't know if it's a great idea or not, but I was thinking of just writing everybody like a note card and mailing it. Like, you know, just
snail mail.
Yeah, I feel like I would love to open my mailbox, just because there's so little interaction I have.
Oh my gosh, guys, do you want to be pen pals?
Let's do it. Why not?
Let's be pen pals.
It's just so that, you know, like, you take a moment of your day and it's for someone else. And so I'm gonna share. I'm married. Many of you guys know that. And my husband, he's still working. He has to go every day to work. I come to the retreat center a couple times a month, and so we get to gather and kind of prepare for the things that are coming up for the future. But other than that, I'm home by myself, right? So my husband gets home, and I don't even let him open the door before I open it. And I'm just like, because he's the only person I talk to sometimes. And so he looks like he's tired, and he just wants to take a shower and rest. And I'm just like, guess what? Like, the neighbor's dog got out, and I just saw him chase it across the street. And so I need, like, that connection, like you were saying. And I think you said it once at a retreat that we are naturally inclined to crave community, right? And right now we have to work with what we got, and that's kind of what St. Therese had to do too.
Yeah, for sure.
And doing little things in different ways. I'm not big on like I do it, I like it, I'm always on it, but like I'm not great at interacting in social media, like on Facebook or Instagram. So I'm making it a purpose to like things or repost or comment so that people know I'm like there, you know, and that we're communicating.
Like,
but I really thought about, you know, calling people and asking them for their address. I hope they don't think I'm going to show up. I just want to send you a little card that I'm thinking about you. And so I think that would be a great little way to do something.
So y'all can drop your addresses in our DMs if you want a postcard from Stu.
And it sounds silly.
It does,
but if you would like a card from us, or maybe we can even get some of our priests here if they're not so busy. We can probably get Father Rod or Father John or Sister Danielle or any of the staff you met up here. If you want to share your address, we would love to send you a card. And if you want to send one back, you're more than welcome to. We would love to. We would love to hear what you guys are up to, what you're doing, and what little things you are doing at home that are helping you reach holiness. Whether it's from praying a rosary daily, offering it for our essential workers, to, you know, if you're like for your mom, she works. If you make her a sandwich in the morning. If you try to do daily mass, if you're reading a book, whatever you're doing that is helping you reach holiness, please share with us so that we can share with others, because we are all going through very similar situations, maybe not identical, but similar. And I think that St. Therese is a great inspiration for us on how we can do small things with great love. So anyway, thanks guys for coming. They actually, again, everybody drives at least an hour, and so thanks for coming. I feel like I could stay here all day. The weather's actually really nice.
Thanks for having us.
If you want to come up once we are going to be able to open our doors, call us. We would love for you to check out the view, get some time here, reflection, meditation, or just to gather with the community. We're really excited. We're actually planning a lot of awesome things for you guys. So anyway, we'll be here weekly, so we'll kind of update you on everything next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.